Adab al-Mufrad. Before we move on to tonight's hadith, what was last week's hadith? The Prophet ﷺ used to wipe over his bed before going to sleep. He would pat over the bed, and he would say Bismillah, and he would lie on his right side. And then what would he say? Make dua. That's a good answer. But there was a specific dua. I was waiting to ask you guys today if anyone memorized it, if anyone's been saying it. He would say, Subhanaka Rabbi, bika wada'tu janbi wa bika arfa'uh. إن أمسكت نفسي فاغفر لها وإن أرسلتها فاحفظها بما تحفظ به عبادك الصالحين. Beautiful dua. Try to memorize it and have these ad'iyah as part of our routine. But tonight's hadith, عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه أنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم خمس من الفطرة قص الشارب وتقليم الأظفار I saw someone counting and I lost my train of thought. What did we say? قص الشارب وتقليم الأظفار وحلق العانة ونتف الإبط والسواك. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, according to Abu Huraira, that there are 5 actions that are from one's fitrah, and that means from our innate disposition, what humans naturally incline towards. 5 things that we should do, and the Sharia encourages this as well, not just human nature. Number 1, to trim the mustache. The Prophet ﷺ taught us not to allow for the men the mustache to go beyond one's lips. Now this is from the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, but it also has health benefits, which we won't get into. And he said the second is to clip the fingernails and the toenails, to clip them, not to allow them to grow. The third was to remove and shave pubic hairs. The fourth is to remove and shave the armpit hairs. And the fifth is to use the siwak. These are from the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. And if you think about all of them, there are many wisdoms. For example, just to take one, why did the Prophet ﷺ tell us to clip our nails? Of course, someone who allows them to grow long, this is displeasing to the sight. But also, bacteria gathers, dirt and whatnot gathers under the nails. And also from a perspective of wudu, that doesn't allow water to reach the skin under it. So there are many benefits. A person who allows extra hair to grow, it has a displeasing scent if a person sweats. And the Prophet ﷺ also encouraged what at the end, the siwak, to brush one's teeth. How many times do you think the Prophet ﷺ brushed his teeth in a day? 5 times? More. I would argue more. How many times do we brush our teeth? 1 or twice, huh? Hopefully at least twice. Hopefully twice. But the Prophet ﷺ would brush his teeth in the morning, when he was making wudu, before prayer, when he would enter the house, he would brush his teeth. Before going to sleep, he would brush his teeth. Throughout the day, because he disliked to have a horrible breath. Huh? Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. This was the last thing. He was lying his head on Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu anha, and he couldn't even really speak right at the final moments. And I believe it was Sayyidah Aisha's brother, Abdul Rahman, walked in, and he had a miswak in a pocket, and the Prophet ﷺ saw it, and Sayyidah Aisha noticed he wanted it. And so Sayyidah Aisha, she took the miswak and she softened it with her own mouth. And she helped him use the miswak, and she always considered this a great honor, that was the last thing that touched the mouth of the Prophet ﷺ. Now, why do we have all these things? We know the Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ جَمِيلٌ يُحِبُّ الْجَمَالِ. Allah is beautiful and He loves beauty. These things cause a person to look beautiful. And Nafi' says that Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma, he would clip his nails every 15 days, every 2 weeks. And he would trim excess hair, pubic hair, armpit hair, at least once a month. And the Prophet ﷺ told us, do not let 40 days go by without doing these things. So for all of us, especially the men, this is like a lifelong practice. Every month, a person should do all of these things. And there are many benefits, right, out for someone who is not married, right? A person has friends, he goes to work so he can look pleasing, but especially for a person who's married. You know, there are people who will complain about their spouse. Their spouse isn't taking care of themselves. Abdullah ibn Abbas, and this is how I'll conclude. Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma, he said, I love that my wife beautify herself for me, so I too beautify myself for her. So even in the context of the closest relationship between a husband and a spouse, a person should maintain themselves, clean themselves, take care of themselves at the very minimum to be beautiful to their spouse. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to allow us to follow the sunnah of the Messenger of Allah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Wa akhir da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa alihi wa sahbihi sallam.